You might be doing everything right with your credit, like keeping your balances low, making payments on time, but your score still won't budge. And here's why. The biggest credit killer isn't what most people think. In fact, you can easily be losing 50 to 100 points right now and have no idea why. Most people believe that keeping your credit utilization under 30% is the key to a great credit score. But that's only half the story, because 30% of your credit score is based on something much bigger than just utilization. And if you don't understand how it works, your score could be stuck for years no matter what you do. Let me show you what's really going on and, more importantly, how to fix it. So most people think that credit utilization is the only thing that matters, but lenders actually look at 5 different factors when judging your debt. And the first one is something that almost no one pays attention to that could be quietly hurting your score. Lenders just don't look at your credit utilization, but they also consider the total debt across all of your accounts: credit cards, car loans, mortgages, student loans, and personal loans. Even if your utilization is low, too much total debt makes it look like you're high risk. But here's the catch. Just because you pay off your credit card every single month doesn't mean lenders see a zero balance. If your statement closes with a $3,000 balance, even if you pay it in full, that number is still reported to the credit bureaus. Your total debt affects your debt to income ratio, which is your DTI, a key factor in big loans like mortgages. Most lenders want to see a DTI under 43%, but under 36% will give you the best approval odds. When I was buying a home, I thought that keeping my credit card balance zero could help. But I still had an auto loan and a personal loan, which heavily reduced how much I could qualify for. The more debt that you carry, the harder it is to get approved for new loans. These 3 simple moves can instantly improve how lenders see you. First is to track your total debt, not just credit cards. Second is to time your payments. Pay off your credit cards before the statement closing date so it reports a lower balance. And third, pay down high interest debt first to lower your overall burden. When it comes to paying off debt, 2 strategies work best. One of them is the debt avalanche method. You pay off high interest debt first to save the most on interest. The second one is the debt snowball method. You pay off the smallest debt first to build momentum with quick wins. So no matter what method that you use, reducing your total debt is the fastest way to boost your credit score and borrowing power. But not all debt affects your score the same way. Some types hurts way more than others, even with lower balances. If you don't understand this, you could be making a huge mistake. The key reason is that not all debt is treated the same. A $5,000 balance on a credit card affects your score very differently compared to a $5,000 auto loan. So here's why. There are 2 main types of debt. First is revolving debt, which is credit cards and lines of credit. Your balance changes every month and you can borrow against it repeatedly. The next kind is installment debt, which includes auto loans, mortgages, student loans, and personal loans. These have fixed payments and have a set payoff date. Lenders see installment loans as less risky because they are predictable. But high credit card balances make them nervous since you can rack up more debt at any time. This is why someone with a $10,000 car loan might have a better credit score than someone with just $5,000 in credit card debt. But there are ways to make both types of debt less risky. Credit cards hurt your score more because their balances can change every month and they are unsecured. But if you use a secure credit card, the risk is lower. For example, a $1,000 secure credit card that's backed by a deposit looks safer to lenders than a standard credit card with no collateral. Now, when it comes to loans, some are safer than others. Mortgages and auto loans are backed by a home or a car, so lenders can recover their money if you default. On the other hand, personal loans are unsecured, making them riskier and harder to qualify for. That's why personal loans often require strong credit and income to get approved. At the end of the day, it's all about your overall credit profile. I have a credit score over 800, despite having 2 mortgages and a personal loan, because I built a strong seasoned credit profile over time. The more accounts that you manage responsibly, the less impact new debt will have on your score. But if your credit profile is thin, certain debts, especially credit cards and personal loans, can hurt you a lot more. So to fix this issue, you want to diversify your credit mix. So avoid relying too much on credit cards or personal loans since they can impact your score more than other debts. Next is that you want to pay down revolving balances first. Credit card debt is unpredictable, so clearing it first gives you the biggest credit score boost. And third, you want to be strategic about personal loans. If you have multiple personal loans, consider consolidating them or paying down faster to reduce your overall risk. Even if your debt is perfectly balanced, having too many accounts with balances can still lower your score. From a lender's perspective, having 5 credit cards with balances, even if the total debt is small, can make you look financially strained. But even if the same amount is spread across just 1 or 2 accounts, lenders can see you as less risky. This mostly applies to credit cards. With loans, your balance remains until it's paid off, but with credit cards, you can control how balances are reported. A common question is it better to maximize one card and leave the other zero, or spread the balance across multiple cards? This all really depends on your credit profile. If you max out one card, your utilization skyrockets, which lenders see as risky. If you spread the balance across multiple cards, your total utilization is the same, but each card utilization is lower. But based on my experience reviewing hundreds of credit reports, if you must carry a balance, spreading small amounts across multiple cards is usually better than maxing out one. But ideally, you want to keep your balances close to zero as possible. Here are 2 ways to optimize this part. First is by limiting the number of accounts carrying a balance. Keep your balances only on 1 or 2 cards at a time, ideally on an account that has a high credit limit. And second, pay off small balances completely. Clearing small balances can give your score a quick boost. Reducing the number of accounts with balances is key, but most people overlook another mistake. They think that credit utilization is the only thing that matters in the amounts owed section of the credit report. I get it. It's an easy concept to understand, but let's break down what credit utilization is and what it isn't, so you can fully optimize your score. Credit utilization is one of the biggest factors in your FICO score, but most people misunderstand how it actually works. You've probably heard the advice, never use more than 30% of your credit limit. But here's the truth, there's no 30% rule. You can use as much credit as you want, as long as you know how utilization is reported and how to manage it. A big misconception comes from confusing usage with utilization. Usage is how much you spend on your card each month. Lenders actually like to see it when you use a card. It shows activity. On the other hand, utilization is the balance reported to the credit bureaus on your statement closing date divided by your credit limit. For example, if you have a $1,000 limit and you spend $800 in a month but pay it off before the statement closing date, your usage was 80%, but your reported utilization was 0%. It's not about how much you spend, it's about what gets reported. Lenders see high utilization as a sign of financial strain. It suggests that you might be relying too heavily on credit to get by. On the flip side, a low utilization rate shows that you have access to credit, but don't depend on it, making you look like a responsible borrower. But here's the catch. How much utilization hurts your score depends on your credit profile. If you have a well-aged credit profile and pay in full every month, lenders aren't as concerned about temporary high utilization. If you have a thin or young credit profile and carry balances, high utilization will hurt much more. That's why the blanket statement like stay under 30% isn't a one-size-fits-all. A lot of people assume that paying their credit card in full every month means that the utilization must be low. Now, this is not completely true. Your credit report doesn't show your real-time balance. It shows the balance on your last statement closing date. So even if you pay in full, if your statement closes with a high balance, that number is the number that gets reported. So here's how to optimize your credit utilization on revolving accounts. You want to keep your reported utilization low. Even if 30% works for some, others see bigger benefits under 10%. So lower is always better. Next is to time your payments correctly. You want to pay down your balances before the statement closing date so you have a lower amount that is reported. And third, ask for a credit limit increase. A higher credit limit lowers your utilization ratio and gives you a bigger buffer. Most people understand that credit utilization is important, but there's another type of utilization that no one talks about, and this hidden factor could be quietly impacting your credit score more than you realize. Installment loans have their own utilization, and if your balances is still high, it could be holding your score back. Lenders just don't care about on-time payments. They also look at how much of your loan is still owed compared to the original amount. Installment loans include things like auto loans, mortgages, student loans, and personal loans. Unlike credit cards, installment loans have fixed payments and a set payoff date. But here's where people get caught off guard. Lenders compare your current balance to the original loan amount. If you took out a $30,000 auto loan and still owe $28,000, lenders will see you as high risk because you barely paid it down. If you paid off half the loan and now owe $15,000, your score improved because you've shown history of responsible repayment. Lenders prefer borrowers who have proven that they can pay down debt. That's why your credit score increases as you pay down installment loans, especially when you pass the 50% payoff mark. Until then, a high loan balance makes lenders hesitant to improve your new credit. One thing that you shouldn't be surprised about is that whenever you get a new loan, you likely will see a dip in your credit score. This happens for a few reasons. First is that you're adding new debt, which increases the total amount that you owe. Second is most likely you have a hard inquiry. The lender runs a credit check, which causes a slight drop. And third, your average age of account drops. A new loan adds a new account to your credit profile. But as you make payments and reduce the balance, your score will climb back up. The biggest positive credit score boost happens towards the end of the loan. This is due to your loan utilization being low, lenders seeing you as less risky, and you have proven that you can manage debt responsibly. Think of it like credit card utilization. As your balance decreases, your score increases. Recently, buy now, pay later loans have surged in popularity. Most don't report to the credit bureaus, but that's starting to change. And just like personal loans, consumer loans are seen as higher risk compared to auto loans or mortgages. That's why too many buy now, pay later, or personal loans can negatively impact your credit score. The only real way to improve this part of your credit score is to pay down your loan aggressively. But here are 3 ways to put you in a better position. First is to try to make an extra principal-only payment. Some lenders will allow you to direct principal payments, helping you pay down the loan faster and save on interest. Second is to lower your debt to income ratio. If your DTI is high, focus on paying down debt before applying for new credit. And third, avoid stacking too many personal loans. Lenders prefer one larger loan over multiple smaller ones. Now that you understand the 5 factors that goes into the amounts owed section, you have an edge over most people. Most only focus on credit utilization, but now you see what lenders actually look at. But here's the thing. This is just one piece of the puzzle. If you're ready to take full control of your credit and get access to real proven strategies, join my private credit community. Inside, I share my step-by-step credit repair process and hold weekly live sessions where I personally answer your questions. Click on the link below or scan the QR code to join now.